Welcome to the 30th session on operating system and Linux. I'm Manibhushan D'Souza, and in today's class we are going to look at Linux directory oriented commands. There are many commands which are associated with the directories. First, we will look at the command format that is used in the Linux and what are the various ways in which you can use it. We will also see the directory oriented commands, as well as we will talk something about the wildcard characters. So let's begin with the what is a command as such. Command is nothing but an instruction given to the shell so that we want something to be done with the system. Whenever we want some things to be done with the system, some work has to be done on the system, we give the instructions to the shell. The shell in turn gives it to the kernel, and the kernel will execute those commands. There are many commands which are available in Linux which you can use it to easily work with the Linux. Now, in general, Linux commands have three different parts. One is the name of the command that we want to use it. Then there are many options. Options are various parameters that you can use it to fine tune the command, like various options which are available within the same command. Even though the name of the command may be same, but the options are different. So using different option, we can use the same command to perform different things. The last thing that is given to the command is the command argument. So these are nothing but the objects on which the command has to be executed. Now generally the options are separated by the minus symbol. So you can see over here, usually we followed the minus and then the various option, and to separate between the command and the option and the argument, we generally use a space or tab. Both are valid. Okay. These options that we think of using in the Linux can be individually given, or we can combine them together with a single minus sign. So just to highlight how the things are going to work, we have a command here called WC. There are three options which are available. One is -L, -W and -C. I can write individually -L, -W, -C followed by the argument. This part, the last part will be the argument. So I can write these three things separately, or I can use only single minus symbol followed by the LWC. So there are two ways in which you can use it. Individually you can supply them, or you can supply them all of them together with a single minus sign. Now when the commands options are given, okay, these command option along with the command line argument forms one line, and we generally enter all the commands line by line, and generally this is called as command line. Okay, we write all the commands within one line and press enter, and when I press enter, the command will be executed. So when you type the command, nothing is going to happen. You keep on typing in one line and press enter. When the enter is typed, that is a new line character is typed, the command gets executed. Now generally the command ends within one line. Suppose if you want to take the command to this next line, ignoring the enter sign. Now suppose say you have written a command, and a very lengthy command, and the minute you press enter sign, what happens is the command gets executed. Suppose you don't want the command to be executed, then before pressing the enter, put a backslash. So when you use the backslash, you know very well backslash is a escape character in a C programming language. You have studied that. Same thing is being done. So when I put the backslash, the enter will be escaped, and you will be taken to the next line, and you can keep on doing it, and when you press enter, that command gets executed. So if you want to take the command to the next line, press slash and enter, that is backslash and enter, and it will go to the next line. Okay. Now suppose if you want to execute one command in one line, it is well and good. Sometimes we want to execute more than one command in a single line. In that case, use a semicolon. So semicolon can be used to separate the commands. For example, here we have two commands. One is called as a date, the other one is called as who, and they are separated by a semicolon. You can always do that thing. Now in Linux there are different types of commands are available, and these commands are grouped together depending upon their functionalities. So the one that we are going to look at today in our session is the directory oriented commands. Similarly, we have the file oriented, process oriented, communication oriented commands, general purpose command, pipe and filters, and so on and so forth. So there are many different varieties of commands are available. So let's first look at the directory oriented command. Now one of the things that you can do in a directory is to list all the content which are there in a directory. For this we have the command called as ls. Ls stands for the list. So if you want to list the content of the directory, we can use ls command. Now this is a very obvious command. Now we don't generally see this command. So if I go to the Linux over here, and if you look at any folder for that matter, what is being shown here is the list of all the contents which are there inside a particular folder. So this, when you are using Windows, the list becomes obvious one, but when you are using the command line, you have to specify the list command, and that list command is the ls command. So let's look at that ls command. Ls command, like all the other commands, we have the first one is the name of the command, and optionally, now whenever you see this bracket here, that is the square bracket, it means this is optional. So in somewhere else if you see something like this, that means that part is optional. So remember, this is in the syntax. When the syntax is given during the examination, one mistake that most of the students do is they explain everything about the ls command, but they don't explain the syntax. You have to first mention the syntax, how the command in general will look like. So we have the ls command followed by the option followed by the directory name. So directory name is the name of the directory which need to be displayed. Okay, in your particular Windows as such, if you are using GUI, this is the directory that is getting displayed. That is obvious here on a GUI, but on a command line things may not be so obvious. Now if you don't specify the directory, the current directory in which you are working, that directory will be listed. So if you just type ls command without anything, the content of the current directory will be listed. So let's look at that one and then we will come back to it. Now I am there in the BCA folder. You notice that on my desktop I have a folder called as BCA. I have double clicked on that BCA which is there on my desktop. Let me zoom in for you so that you can see it. So on my desktop I have BCA, and there are two folders are there and some files are there. So I will go to the command prompt, and if you notice that I am there in the BCA itself, I'm there at the same location, BCA location. So if I type ls here and if I press enter, I'm going to see the same thing. So what I'm going to see here, if you just look at here, I'll see assignment, I will see second semester, I will see city names, I'm going to see my city, and so on so forth, google.png, and so on so forth. I will see all the files here. So this is same as listing, but it comes in the command line. So if you're doing the same thing, but it is in the command line. So in the command line you just specify ls. So ls is the command that is used to list the content. Okay, I have not specified anything. If you just specify ls, the current directory will be listed. Now if you want to list all the files including the hidden files, you can use ls minus a to list the content. So generally in Windows you have an option called as hide a file. When we talk about the Linux, the files are actually not shown. For example, if you look at a file here called as a sample, so let me just show you that particular thing. So sample, and you notice that it's not showing that sample and tilde. It is not showing. Now how to create a hidden file? So I'm going to say touch command. Touch is not used for creating a file, but I can always use that thing touch, and I put a dot and I say that secret .txt. I press enter. So what you notice over here is where is that secret file? Okay, ls it. Where is that secret file? Now if I say ls -a, you will notice that that file is there, secret. Can you see that secret? When I use the command, look at this one. When I used this command, I remove that. Okay, when I used this command, if you just look at ls, direct ls, that secret file, if you look at here, is not listed. But when I use ls -a, it's going to show. So if you want to hide a file in Linux, start the file name with the dot. If you start a file name with the dot, it's going to show you the hidden files. So generally hidden files are not shown. If you really want to see the hidden files, there is an option in most of the GUI to show the hidden file. If I do that, you will notice that this is a hidden file. Even sample is also a hidden file. So if you want to see the hidden files, you can always use a -a option of your ls command. So that is the first option. Let's look at -el option. Suppose if you want to list all the details about the files, what do I mean by saying all the details? Now when you look at a file over here, if you right click on it, you will notice there are a lot of properties which are available, when it is created, when it is accessed, and what type of permission it has. All these informations are actually, you can get it for individual files. But what if I want to get in the command prompt? To get it in the command prompt, let me clear that content, and I'm going to say ls -l. Remember, I am again not typing the name of the directory. If I don't write the name of the directory, that means it is the current directory that will be listed. So if I press enter, you will notice that the things have changed to a very great extent. Now on your Windows, you can always go here, and then you can view them in a different way. You can arrange them accordingly by name, by and so on and so forth. I can go here and say list here, and you will see the same thing there. So you can see this, you can see that even on Windows you have that option, so don't worry about it. Now you can see something like this, but not exactly like this. So you will see the size of the file, and you will see when it is created, and so on and so forth, whether it is a folder, file, and so on and so forth. So you are able to see it in a list, the same thing that you can see over here. Now few things you must understand when you get this kind of option. What are the things that it is trying to show it to you? So first thing is the first column here. The first column that you see over here, if it contains a word D, that means it is a directory. Assignment is a directory, and the other one, third sem, is a directory. It is not a file. If it is a dash here, it is a file. So let me just go to the Windows, because you are already familiar with the GUI. So let me click on this BCA. You notice that assignment is a folder and the sem is a folder. It's a folder or a directory in Linux. So it shows the directory. Let me clear the content, and let me say ls -l again. The next one is the permission that the user gets it, and during the protection about the operating system, in the general operating system discussion, I have talked about the protection, and I have talked about the file permission. So you have the permission read, write, execute for the user read, write, execute for the group, read but not write and execute is the permission that is given for the others. So you know the three things, three type of users who are there. So we have the owner, that is the user, then we have the group, then we have the others who are going to use it. Next one is the number of links that this particular file has. A link is nothing but in a very general way, it's a shortcut. How many shortcuts are there for this same file? Next one is who is the owner of this particular file. Now owner of this file is I created it, I am the owner. The next one is the group for which this particular file belongs to. Now what is the meaning of saying group is, again in the concept of file protection I have talked about groups. So generally you can create a group called as a BSC and keep all the people. So money is the owner and the group is he belongs to BSC group. So like that. Now because it is my home computer, I can't say BSc, BA, BCom and other things. I am going to create a group with my same name. I can change it, I can always create a new name, but generally I am going to use it because it's my personal PC. Then you have the size which is being shown. Now this size is in terms of blocks, not in the human readable form, so it's going to say. Then when this file is created, that details is going to show, you can see over here. And finally the names of all the files which are created, all these things will be shown in a /L, in a -L option. So this is what you are going to see in -L option. Then we have other option called as R, which is going to show the content in the reverse order. So what's the meaning of saying a reverse order is it's going to sort in the reverse order. So if I put the name here, let me clear it and just show you. Let me clear it and let me say ls, and you say A, assignment and so on and so forth. So you notice this one, I'm going to say ls -r, and you notice that selected and these things were first. So you have a selected sample and so on and so forth, and finally in the G comes later and so on. So this is a, I'll use a ls -LR. So you notice it is S first and A last. Okay, so you can notice over here. Why didn't I show you this? This is appearing in column. Okay, it is going to be a bit confusing. It's actually in the form of a column. So this is one column, this is the other column, and this is the third column. It shows in the form of a column, so it may be a bit difficult for you to see it. So let me say ls -L. Let me click here and do it. ls -L to show it in the ascending order. If I just do ls -L without R, it's going to show it in the ascending order. So this is how it's going to get it. So you can get it either ascending order, descending order. Now if you have subdirectories inside the current directory, you can always use -R to recursively show all the contents of all the directories. So let's look at that in action. So I'll just show you what I have here. In my particular folder here, I have two folders here. One is the assignment, which contains history. Again, I'm going to just zoom in for you. So then I have the assignment. Inside assignment I have a history and maths, all are empty. Then I have the third semester and it is also empty. I think there is one something here. Okay, then something here, something here. Okay, so these are all the things are there. Assignment is there, sem is there, inside that some folders are there. So let me try to show that thing. I'm going to go and let me zoom out for you so that you can see it now. So I'm going to use where is the mouse pointer? Okay, I'm going to first clear the content and I'm going to say ls capital R, and you will notice that it's going to show it in the different way. First of all, it's going to show you that in this particular location you have assignments, city name, and so on and so forth. And inside the assignment, I'm just going to click on the assignment. There is a history and analytic and so on and so forth. Inside the assignment you have some files. If you look at here, inside the assignment, algebra exercise, exercise 1, exercise 2, exercise 3, and so on. Then it goes to the history. If I open the history is empty, you know very well. So even maths is empty and physics is empty. So that's what it is trying to show. Then it shows that there is one other folder called as third sem. There is one file called as my list, and that is what it is trying to show. So it's going to list out all the directories and all the files directly. So recursively it goes inside all the subdirectories and then shows the content to you. So that is what is the option. Then you have the P option. The P option is used to show whether something is a directory or not. Generally, when you have this colored monitors, the colored monitor, let me get it here, will show you. Let me come to the BSc, and you notice that assignment and the third sem is the folders. So let me clear it, and I'm going to say ls minus p, and you notice that for the folder it's going to show the slash here. Now in this particular console it is much easier to recognize because it uses a different color, and slightly it makes it bold so that you can easily see them. But in some terminals it is very difficult to distinguish between a file and a folder on a console like this. In that case you can use minus p so that it shows you whether it is a file or a folder. Okay, let's look at wildcard characters. So wildcard characters are like in your if you played rummy or any other cards, you have a joker. You know very well, joker can fit into any place. If you have played cards, the card of decks, rummy or generally the rummy, you can if the sequence like 1 2 3 is 3 is missing, you can put a joker instead of 3, and the joker will be a replacement for that. So that is, it's a wild card. So similarly, you can use the two types of wildcards in your Linux. One is the star, other one is the question mark. Star means any characters, any number, 0 or more character. Question mark means one replacement. It can replace only one thing. So let's look at that in action. I'm going to go here to my BCA here, and I'm going to go into assignment, and a lot of files are there in the assignment. So let me go to the assignment. How do I go to the assignment? To go to the assignment, I type cd, and then I'm going to cd is change directory, and I'm going to say assignment. I press enter. I'm inside the assignment. You can notice that I am inside the assignment. Before this, before issuing the command, I was there in BCA. Now if I type ls, you will notice all the files which are there. There are a lot of files are there. Now I want to see I can find out, okay, how many maths related files are there. Okay, so I just want to see, or how many exercise files are there. I want the list of only the exercise files. So how can I do that thing? So I can say that ls ex exercise star. I don't have to type all of them. Remember, they are not the same thing here. So exercise, the file names are not same, but they are all starting with the exercise. So I'm going to say exercise star dot star. If I just say exercise star, I'm going to get it. So if you notice that all the exercises, it's going to show you all the exercises, all the files that are starting with the xe. So this is what it's going to show. Anything that comes there. Now I want to check only the exercise 13 and 12 like this. The first number is 1, then the second number can be 1, 3, 5 or anything. So how do I do it? I hope you got what is star. Star means anything, starting from anything. So let's look at that thing. ls exercises, okay, 1 question mark. So if you look at here, it's going to show you the exercise number 1. This is wildcard, next one is the wildcard, 3, next one is the wildcard. So one replacement. So after, let me clear this one. After this much exercise up to here, after this the next character can be anything. As of now in my folder I have only two things. One is one, okay, I have it. The other one is I have the other one, this. Now you notice that very close by, let me do it one more time. So you will notice one thing, that there is 10, but 10 is not displayed. Why 10 is not displayed? What I am saying here is, after this only one character can come. So after this only one character can come. So that is this. After this one character can come. That's it. Here after this one character is there, then additional characters are there. So more than one characters are there. So how can I get them now? Let me clear it. And let me click here and then clear this one. How can I get this? So I have to say exercise 1 star. What if I do the star? You notice if I do the star, you will notice that 10 is there and something. So up to here it is common. So up to here it is common. Then any number of characters can come. So this is common. You can notice this is common. This is common. After that any number of character, either you can have 2, either you can have 4, either you can have anything. Any number of characters can come. So star means any number of replacement. Question mark means only one replacement will be there. Anything can come but only one character. So hope you know that. Suppose if you want more than one, then what you have to do? So if you put suppose if you want to get 101, not this one, I want to get 101, not this one. In that case what to do? So in that case the option is very simple. What I am supposed to do? I am going to say exercise question mark. So first question mark is for the first replacement, second one is for the second replacement. So you get it. Okay, so I press enter, you get it. First question mark is for 0, second question mark is for 1. Remember, I don't have other files. Please kindly note that I don't have other files. Suppose if I create one more file, let me touch here and I'm going to say exercise. My spelling is proper, 102. If I do it now, if I try this one, I get 101 and 102. Okay, so 101 and 2 replacement after this. Remember, up to here it is common. Then any character. So can I what if I create let me click here and let me create this one, 10x. Okay, will it be displayed? The answer is yes, it is displayed. Why it is displayed? 1 0, so it is up to here common, then 2 characters. It is not just a number, any character is going to replace it. So hope you get that thing. Question marks means one replacement will come instead of that question mark. So if you have a question mark, instead of question mark any character can come, but it is just one replacement. What about a star? Star means either 0 or any number of characters can come. Either nothing is there or you may have many characters coming in there. So it is 0 or any number of characters can come. Question mark means one and only one. So these two are the wildcard characters which you can always use for searching the content. Okay, so for example, if you want to know all the files which are starting with the that are ending with the S, you can do that thing. So let's look at this one. Oops, I'm going to go to the my here and let me clear it. And if I want to, let me ls first. If I want to know all the files which are starting with the O. So how can I do that? ls O and star. So which files I have? Optics nodes I have, organic chemistry I have that particular thing. Now what if I want to know which files are starting? So I don't know the character, but in between yes is there, and it can be anything. So what is the meaning? That in between there must be yes, anything that has an yes inside. How many of them will be displayed? You will notice many of them. So yes is there. You notice that in between s is there. Now what if in between t is there? So some of them will be displayed. You can notice that in between t is there. Somewhere in between there must be t. So that is anything before, then a t, anything afterwards, including t also. So anything afterwards. So simple as that. Hope you get that thing. Okay, so this is how we use the while character. Also you can use the special symbol called the square bracket, which are used. Remember, this is not optional. Please note, what I am talking about is the actual command. What is told here, don't get confused, what is told here is this is the syntax. This is how the things are written. It is not the actual command. In the syntax, if you get a angle bracket, that means that is optional. Without that also will work. ls without any option will also work. Now let's look at the subset option. Now subset means you can give a range. So all the files between this to this. So let's give it a range and let's find out. Okay, I want to know all the exercises between, say, let me clear it first. I think clear is the command, and ls c. Again C is coming there. Again C is coming. Okay, so let me clear it first and let me ls it. I don't know why that C came many times. Okay, so I want to find all the exercises starting with 3 and 5. So I'm going to give the range like that. So how do I give that thing? ls, okay, exercise, okay, from 3 to 5. So if I give, what you notice, exercise 3 or exercise, if 4 is there, 4 or 5. What about 4 has not shown? Remember, 4 is not just 4 dot pdf is there. So note that thing over there. So there is a small difference there. So it is not just 4, it is 4 and dot pdf. So it's not just 4. You can give a range. So all the exercise between 10 and 20, if you want them to be listed out, you can give the range from one place to the other. So you can also use like this, exercise 4 to 5 and exercise 11 to 13. So do I have the 11 and 13? Okay, this is going to be a wrong range. Okay, I have to give. Let me give all of them. 13, 3 to 13. So 3 is there, and 1 3 should have been there, but it didn't took 1 3. Okay, and let's see that 3 to 9. If I give how many, it's going to, I think I am using 2 to double. Okay, 3 to 9. Do I have all the 3 to 9 there? So let me use ls and let me find out. And 3 to 9, how many are there between 3 to 9? 4 is rolled out. And do I have anything else? Okay, not there. Again, if you look at this 10 exercise and other, they are not directly, they are not the numbers. There are some extra things are there, but I am not very sure why that 13 and 11 were not included in that range. Okay, so let's look at the other commands there. So this is one. The next command that we are going to look at is the mkdir. So what is the use of this mkdir? So mkdir is used to create a folder. So in Windows, you know how to create a folder. During the exercise, definitely we will see in the practical we will see how to create the folder, but as of now, or how to use the ls command in detail, because it's a theory session. I do not want to extend the time of video, so I'm restricting myself. So to create a folder, right click and say create a folder in your GUI. How can I create the same thing in the command prompt? So let's look at that thing, and I'm going to press enter. So to create a folder, make a directory, that's all. Make directory, name of the directory. So let's say computer, and press enter. Now what you notice here is a folder is created called as computer. So as simple as that. So you can always create a directory. You can give any name, make a directory, and say chemistry. Press enter, and it's going to create a chemistry. Now make a directory, let's say analytic chemistry. So what happens? Analytic, the chemistry is already there, so let me give algebraic equations. Okay, so let's press enter. What you notice here? So you will notice the same thing. First one is algebraic, and the second one is equations. You will just look at here what it created is, first one it's just say algebraic, so that's what you said, and the second one it created one more folder called as equations. So what if you actually wanted to create algebraic equation as a single, not the two? Here if you notice, it has created two folders. Now what if you want to create a single folder? Then put them in double quotes. Say algebraic equation, put them in double quotes. If you have spaces in between, you know very well, spaces considered as the separator. So press enter, and you will notice it has created algebraic equation. So now it's going to create the whole thing. So if you want to create a folder that has the spaces in between, use the double quotes. So let's clear that. Now there is one option, so with the mkdir, and let me go to the PowerPoint and then come back to you. So this is how you can do it. So mkdir, the syntax is -p is one option that is available. Name of the directory, space, name of the directory, and name of the directory. You can create n number of directories in one shot. So by specifying mkdir followed by all the directory names, if they contain spaces, put the double quotes. Now if you want to create one directory inside the other directory, so like you want to create Kannada inside Kannada, or English, let's say inside English non-detailed, inside say prose, and inside it poem. So you want to create one one folder inside the other folder. How do you do that? For this, in one shot, if you want to create it, then directly you can't create it. Then you have to use the -p option. -p option will create one folder inside the other folder, inside the other folder, and so on and so forth. So let's look at how it can be created. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to say mkdir, and first folder is my folder is English. Then I'm going to say detailed, and then I'm going to say prose, then I'm going to say notes. These are all folders. Press enter. Now it's going to say that I can't create this kind of folder. That is called as nested, one inside the other. Now if I use the option -p, so if I use the option -p and press enter, it didn't set anything, it has created. Now if you look at the English folder, now somewhere it has created this where am I inside this it created English. English is here, so it created English. If you open this English, I'm going just to open here English. Inside English, if you just notice, 1 minute, okay, slightly I'm going to pull this one over here. So if you just notice that where is the folder, current folder, okay. If you notice this English, I'll zoom it for you so that you can see there. So if you look at the English, inside English I created detailed. Inside detail I have prose. Inside that prose I have created notes. So if you see English, inside English you have detail, inside detail you have prose, you have notes, and so on. So within one shot you are able to create many folders. So that's the beauty of that -p. You can use that -p for doing that thing. So I've given you the option how it can be created. Now the next one is, once you have used the -p, if you tell you want to remove the directory. So how can I remove the directory? To remove the directory you have to say rmdir and the name of the directory. Very important thing about removing the directory must be empty. What do I mean by saying a directory must be empty is, there must not be any content inside the directory, neither a folder nor neither a subdirectory nor a file should not be there inside that particular directory. If the file or folder exists, then you get a error message saying that directory is not empty. So can I delete that one? So let's look at that. I have just created, let me go over here, I created a chemistry folder here. So how can I remove it? rmdir, and I am going to say remove directory chemistry. Okay, chemistry. Hope my spellings are proper, otherwise I get an error message. So let's look at that. Before I try that, let's look at the assignments here, and I have the chemistry. So chemistry is there, so my spelling must be proper. If my spelling is not proper, I will not achieve it. Chemistry. So chemistry is hopefully that's this spelling, not the English spelling. This spelling and this spelling must be same, otherwise it will give an error message. Hope that spelling is proper. Press enter, and because the chemistry, what did I do that thing? Okay, so okay, now what's the problem here? You may, when you look at here, you may find that this is also chemistry, this is also chemistry. What's the difference? I typed I think C in capital, that's the reason. So let me try. C was in capital. Remember, it's a case sensitive thing. So if I try this, it deletes. Okay, that chemistry is gone there. So can I delete the computer? I can do that. So C was capital, you must type that thing, COMPUTER. So computer. Now if you created lot of files inside English, there is detailed, non-detailed, and so on. What if you want to delete all of them? So how did you create it? By the way, English and all these subfolders of English by using mkdir and -p option. The same way you can use rmdir. Remember, all of them must be empty, otherwise you will not be able to delete it. If you say rmdir and give all the list of the nested folder that you have created, all of them will be deleted. So look at here English, and let me keep you here English, so you know very well. I'm not going to press enter. So rmdir -p, I press enter, and it's all gone. You notice that English is gone altogether with all the subfolder. It's going to delete all of them in one shot. So this is how you can use rmdir. I will not show the content. Next one is the change directory. Now suppose in Windows, you know very well, you can always change the directory by clicking. So if you click, you can change the directory. Now how can I change the directory in the command prompt? To change the directory in the command prompt, we have a command called as cd. So if you press cd, you can change the directory. So suppose if currently I'm inside the assignment. Okay, so I'm inside the assignment. Inside assignment there are something like math. Suppose if I want to open history folder, nothing is there inside the history. From the assignment I want to go to the history. How can I do that thing? To do that, cd, and I'm going to say history. So now I am in the history. Can you see the thing over here? Last time I was there in the assignment. Now I am inside the history. So I am inside, let me go here. I am inside the history. Okay. Now how to come back to the assignment? To come back to the assignment, to go one level up. Remember, if you look at here, if you look at here, the history is inside the assignment. So this is the parent and history is inside that parent. Now if I want to go back to the parent, so how do I do that thing? So there is a easiest command, and that command is cd dot dot. If you type cd dot dot, it's going to take you back to the assignment. So I'm going to press enter, and you notice that it has taken me back to the assignment. So this is how I can use it. So there are various options which are available, and what are the options? One is the cd dot dot, okay, to go to the parent. So if you are here, if you want to go to the parent, so let me zoom in for you. So if you are here, suppose if you are here, and if you are here, and if you want to go to the parent, what you do from here, okay, if you want to go to the parent, cd dot dot means it will go to this one. Okay, so this is the, I think from here you will go to this one. Cd dot dot means from here it will go to its parent. So you are moving the parent one level up. So you know, this is your tree structure. Hope you're all familiar with the tree structure. You have the root, then we have one level, and we have the other level, then you have the other level. So this tree structure you know very well. So from here, if you want to go to the parent, cd dot dot. From here, if you want to go to the parent, cd dot dot. From here you want to go to the parent, cd dot dot. So cd dot dot can be used to go to the parent. So there are two important things that is associated with it. One is a cd dot dot. So what is the dot to typing dot two times means it is parent. Remember, so to type, if you type, it is a parent. What about if you type one dot? One dot means it is current. So remember two things. One is the current, the other one is the parent. One single dot means current, two dot means parent. You are going to the parent directory. So cd dot means the current directory. So let me clear it for you. Now if I say cd dot, nothing is going to happen because I am there in the current directory. There is also, see, in your Linux, every user, whenever they log in, they are given a home folder. Okay, so by default they will get a home folder. And for example, I have I'm logged in as money. My home folder is money. There is another person called as a student. His folder is a student folder. I can't have an access to that because it's not my home folder. I can get access to only my home folder. What if I want to go to my home folder? So it is, if you just type cd and press enter, you will come to the home directory. So where is this home directory? If you type dir, what you see here is you are in, this is my home directory. And what I have in my home directory is I've typed ls here, or dir or ls, so both are same. This dir is not there in Unix, for your kind information. Dir is the DOS command, but it is there in Linux. Okay, so if I type ls, you notice it is desktop, it is my document, it is the downloads and so on. So I am in the my home directory. So that's the easiest one. Cd, if you do it, also you can use cd tilde. It is the one and the same. It will take you same place. It's not going to go. Now what if I want to go into my desktop? In my desktop I have BCA, so I will say cd desktop. So it will take me to the desktop. Now where am I? I'm inside the desktop. So I am inside the desktop. I'm going to click here inside the desktop. What I'm going to see is BCA exercise 1 and my program 1. Let me clear it for you and then try it. I will ls here. This is what you are going to see. BCA ex1 my program. Some extra things you will see because the GUI does not display all of them. Some system files it will not show you. Next, if I want to go inside BCA, I will say cd BCA. Okay, I press enter. I'm inside BCA. Now I'm inside BCA and I can see assignment and so on and so forth. So I can use ls to find out all the files which are there in the BCA. This is how I can use the cd command. So this is the cd commands, and cd dot you already know. Sometime when we are working on with the command prompt, suppose if you are lost altogether, where is my location, where is my exact location, if you want to know. So you know, in your mobile you have this GPS which will show you exact location, where are you on earth. Similarly, if you want to know in the Linux where is your location, you can use pwd. So let me try that, pwd. So I'm going to clear this one and I'm going to say pwd. So it's going to show me my current directory. Where is my current directory? I am there in my home. If you notice here on the Linux, home, then money, then BCA. So home, you see, then money, I'm sorry, then desktop was there, and then BCA. So this is my present location. So pwd is a present working directory or print working directory. It's going to show you the working directory depending upon where is your current location. Sometime we would like to find some files and do some processing on those files. So if you look at this ls, what ls will do is it will just find the files. Now just finding the files may not be of interest to us. Sometimes we want to find the files and do some processing. In that case, find will be a easier option. So you can use the find. A lot of options are there. Find, and you have to specify which is the directory in which you want to find the content. Then the selection criteria, how ls has the selection criteria, you can use the selection criteria. And finally you have to specify what action that need to be taken on the content that are being given to you. The actions are only two things. One is you can execute a command, or you can print it. By if you don't specify the action, it means you want to print the content. So there are a lot of options are there. So let's look at the first option, using the find using the name. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to find something. So I will try to find, okay, I will try to find, let me go here, I think you'll be able to see that thing. So I want to find, so let me say in my current directory, I'm in the BCA directory. Look at here, I'm in the BCA directory. So find dot the current directory and minus name, just to say that, and I want to find, okay, my city dot txt. I want to find this file. If I press enter, it's going to show me that it is my city dot. Okay, now if I type small m instead of capital M, it will not show me any result because it is case sensitive. What if I want to find without the bothering about the case? I say minus I name. Minus means ignore the cases. So ignore cases and you will be able to find that thing. I can also use the size. For example, if I say I have to have something which is a very large file, okay, suppose if I say, let me clear it, I want to find the file in my current location. I want to find the file whose size is greater than greater than 1 KB. If you do it, you will notice that all these files have the size greater than 1 KB. So at least you can see Google PNG. If you look at Google PNG, it is 5 KB. And you have some sample text assignment and other things, so whose size is slightly higher. Now you notice that it is also showing assignments here. So assignment is not a file. What if I want to find only files, not the directory? In that case, what to do? So in that case, let me clear the clutter first. So in that case, I'm going to say find file, no doubt about it, and I'm going to use minus, and I'm going to say type is F. So that means type is file. That's all. Now you will notice that it's same thing. It is not showing assignment or semester or other things. So F means show me only type is file, only file types you show, not the directory. What if I want to see the directory? You know very well, to show the directory you press D and say that this time it's going to show me. Let me clear the content. It's going to, if the size is there, it's going to show the files there. If something is there, so assignment, equation, and so on so forth, you notice that it's going to show the size. If you, let me clear it and let me show you. See, there are three options are there. Plus means greater than, minus means less than. Show me all. I will use the files. Show me all the files which are less than 1K. You will get that thing. Okay. Now, without plus or minus, what is the meaning? Show me all the files who are exactly 1K. So these are three options. So plus means something which is greater than, minus means something which is less than whatever value you are giving over here, and without anything, without plus or minus, it means exactly. You can use plus cap, not here. You can use the M here for mega or G here for giga. So I don't have those many files here for you for the demonstration purpose, but hope you get the idea how it can be used. Now, the general action is it's going to print, even though I have not specified the action. If you look at here, there are three pieces are there. One is the path, which is I have put dot. By the way, what is dot? Current directory. I put dot. I can put anything there. For example, okay, let me clear it, and let me specify a path here. I'm going to say assignments. Okay, and then I can search for that. So I can do that thing. I can directly give the path. Okay, that's also possible. I can specify inside the assignment folder. Search only inside the assignment folder. I can do that thing. Okay. Again, for the file names, let me give inside the assignment. Let me say type is file. Let me say name. I can use again. I can use ex star. E star dot star. What is the meaning of that? Anything that starts with the E, I want it to be shown. So exercise 1, exercise 2, and so on, with some extension after dot. Without the extension, let me put it without the extension. What is the E star? Means starting with the E, but without any dot extension, dot PDF, dot or something. So I can do that. What if I want to display? Let me clear it. And what if I want to display all PDF files? Star dot PDF, all the PDF files. So show me all the PDF files. It's going to show the PDF file. So this is how you can use them for doing some action. Now by default, if you notice over here, it's going to just show you the file name like this. You know very well, I can use ls minus l to get the long listing. So this is long listing. You are all familiar with that. So what if I want to get the long listing? So I'm going to say this is the command. I want to show all the PDF files, but I want to, this is the action, execute, exe. So this is the execute. I want you to execute. Let me get it in one line if possible. Okay, execute ls minus l. This is ls minus l command. I will get that ls minus l in the other, so that execute space ls minus l. Now if you are using this one, then you have to use this option. This is required as far as the syntax. Now what's the meaning of it is when you notice that when it executes, it generates an output. That bracket says where is the buffer in which it has to be shown. and the slash is required because the actual command is only this. What does this particular says in a very loose language? What does this thing says is, see, when you execute the find, it's going to produce some output. That output has to be stored in a buffer, and it says you store it there, and semicolon is to say that the file has the command has executed. Now this semicolon is required by the find, but the problem is if you just put the semicolon will be taken by the command prompt itself, and the command prompt says that I didn't get why you put the semicolon there. So I have to tell the command prompt that don't bother about this one. So you know what is that? Backslash is an escape character. So I'm escaping the semicolon. That's as simple as that. So if I press it, you notice that it is going to show you in a long listed format. If I slightly, I think I can get it in full screen. So you get a long listed format, how the content will appear like. So you can also use any other command, you can also use it. So there is nothing that you can do it. So for example, if I say find, let's say, let me clear the content and let me say find, let me go to the BCA. Okay, I'm in the BCA definitely, and I have let me open my cities. What is there in my city? Bangalore, Mysore, and so on and so forth is there. So I want you to find, so let me say I want you to find my cities. So I'm going to say find in the current location. I'm in the BCA, remember it is in the BCA, and I'm also in the BCA. I don't have to specify anything, and I want you to find the, not directly type, I want you to find a file, and then I want you to find a file with the exact name. And what is the exact name is my city .txt. I want you to find that thing, and then I want you to execute execute the cat command. So cat command, and I'm going to say this slash semicolon. Okay, exec. Okay. Exec exec, so that is the command you are using. I did use that thing. So is it taking me very long time? Let me try that in this one, exec. Okay, same thing. So let me try it here itself. Yeah, I don't want to waste your time also. So -f, name is this one, exec, and I think that cat command, it is not taking that cat command. Let me first try it without, oh, that not star.pdf. What was the name of that file? mycity.txt. I'm doing it just because I don't want you to waste your time with my mistakes. Okay, my city was the name that I had it, and you notice it's going to come because last time I did some mistake. Why did I quickly shifted over is I'm recording. Okay, so when I record, I don't want you to wait to see what the mistake and so on. So what I've tried here is -f, that is the type is file, name is my city, and once you find that, execute the cat command. So this is as simple as that. Again, I can search by using the minimum time, when the file was created, when the file was last accessed. I can do that thing. So I will not try them because I think I have already exceeded 1 hour. So let's see the options. You have -n to find depending upon the name. If you want to find based on the user, who is the owner, you can use user here. So user for user. Also you have the option when it was created. So this is when it was modified. The size I have already shown you. Plus means it was greater than, minus means less than. Here you have modified time. Okay, you say when it was created, like 10 days before, 2 days before, 5 days before. So if you plus 5 means file that was created after 5 days. Okay, so if you just take the current date, it is not possible, you really don't know. Minus 5 means the files which were created 5 days, in this case m, modified 5 days before. Okay, so you have the option m time, m minutes. This is m minutes means files. If I say here m/m minutes, so m minutes like this, and if I give here instead of this, if I say 5 minus 5 means the files which were created 5 minutes ago. So that way you can use it. Again, last access time 80, you can use them. Also, there are two options that you can use. I have already shown you. The actions are by default. The action is print. Print means it's going to display it on the screen. Remember, I have not written like this. Find and something blah 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 and dash print. I have not done this because if you don't specify print, it's going to print it on the screen. Remember, printing means not printing on the printer. Printing is showing it on the screen. By default, it shows it on the screen. If you want it to again remind it and show it on the screen, use -p. Exec I have already talked about. Exec is used to execute a file. There is also, instead of this, this is one flower bracket should be there. So instead of this flower bracket and slash, you can use flower bracket and plus. Instead of that, that option is also there. So you can use them for doing this. So here he is trying to find a file of type Java. So you can do that thing. Okay. I will not show you the example because I've just shown you. So if you really want to know more about the exercises and examples, please refer the reference book. With this, I will conclude. Thank you for your interest.